So the final injury report for week 17, where the Packers head to Minnesota to take on the Vikings, just came out minutes ago, which include 4 players out for the Green Bay Packers, 3 of which who are starting players, and also 3 questionable designations. And for the Vikings, 1 player out and 1 questionable. So let's go over the final injury report for this week 17 matchup and break down each injury. Before we dive in, wanted to remind you guys that I'm still giving away a Josh Jacobs jersey. Thank you to Sleeper. And right now on Sleeper, signing up with code BASS, B-A-S, and making a $5 entry will net you $55 in free entries. So you can make your picks for the slate of games tomorrow on Saturday, or make your picks in the Vikings-Packers game. Doing so and making an entry with code BASS will enter you in the Josh Jacobs jersey giveaway that'll be announced at the beginning of January. So again, definitely go check out Sleeper, link in the description, and use code BASS when signing up. All right, so now back into the video. Let's bring up the screen and bring up the Packers injury report first. First, we'll just go over the 4 players that are out. Jaire Alexander is out of this game. Andre Dillard is out with a concussion. Quay Walker is still out with his ankle injury. And Evan Williams is out with the quadricep injury. So 3 very important starters on defense out of this game versus a very good Minnesota Vikings football team. We all kind of thought, and I know we go through this every single week, we all kind of thought that Jaire might return this week. He was a full participant Wednesday, although the Packers didn't practice. That was an estimation. Then downgraded to limited on Thursday, and downgraded one step further to a did not participate here on Friday. And it seems like at this point, when Matt LaFleur is asked about Jaire, he doesn't want to be asked about Jaire anymore, and pretty much it's just he'll play when he's ready to play. And there's really no speculation at this point. Obviously, we're all annoyed. Like, we want Jaire to come back, and we want him to be a part of this defense, and our defense is better when he's on the field, and we'd love to have him against Justin Jefferson this week. And Jaire has barely been available this season. But I think the hope here is for him to be 100% healthy come playoff time. The next 2 games are, of course, important for the Packers, being 2 NFC North rival games, but it doesn't change much for the Green Bay Packers. They're already clinched into the playoffs, and maybe these games move them around seeding-wise, but the Packers are likely going to be the 6th seed or the 7th seed. So hopefully this isn't a bad setback for Jaire, and hopefully he's able to return come playoff time. Andre Dillard with a concussion is out. Depth lineman, not a huge concern there. Quay Walker still being out. Eric Wilson has filled in as the Mike linebacker, and of course, Adrian Cooper has taken a step up and is looking like a future star at linebackers. Hopefully, Quay can return either next week or the start of playoffs. Same goes for Evan Williams. He was out last week. Zane Anderson got his first start and his first career interception in the NFL. So we'll see if Javon Bullard does return. He's questionable, and I'm interested to see what the Packers will do if he does return with that ankle injury. Will they just throw Javon Bullard back at safety next to X, or will they put Bullard in the nickel and keep Zane back at safety after an impressive game by Zane, but it was against the Saints and against Spencer Rattler, a very banged up Saints offense. But I'm interested in seeing what the Packers will do if Bullard does return. The other questionable players, Tyron Hopper, ankle injury, questionable, limited the last 2 days. Doesn't see many defensive snaps, so not a massive one there. And Christian Watson, who didn't practice all week, but is actually listed as questionable. And when LaFleur was asked about Watson, if the door is still open for him to play on Sunday, LaFleur said, quote, still open. So I personally don't think Watson ends up playing in this game, but the fact that he's questionable, although he didn't practice all week, does say it's going to be a game time decision. I just don't think they're going to rush him back when the Packers already clinched the playoffs, like I mentioned with the whole Jaire situation. Other players off the injury report, at least with no designation: Corey Ballantyne, Elton Jenkins. That's great to see. That he has absolutely no designation after missing yesterday's practice with a knee injury, but was limited today. He's good to go. Tucker Kraft is good to go, as is Luke Musgrave. Now flipping over to the Minnesota Vikings injury report. As I stated, they have 1 player out and 1 player questionable. The player that is out is cornerback Fabian Moreau, who didn't practice all week with that hip injury. And Ivan Pace Jr. is in his 21-day practice window, returning from IR. He was a full participant all week, but is still listed as questionable. He's an important piece to their their defense. He's a solid linebacker next to Blake Cashman, so it'll be interesting to see if he does indeed play. Cashman, speaking of which, off the injury report. Same with Harrison Smith. He is off the injury report, no injury designation. So that's the final injury report for Packers versus Vikings week 17. I'm very excited for this game. I think it's going to be a wonderful matchup. I think both of these teams match up well, and I want the Packers to get a win against the Vikings where we lost earlier in the season. I also just released my vlog from my time out in Green Bay from last week's game, the Monday Night Football game against the Saints. Click the link right above if you want to go watch that. It was an awesome time, and I really suggest you watch the video. But I appreciate you guys coming by to the video. Please leave a like down below if you did enjoy it. I'll catch you on the next one, and as always, go Pack Go.